Good morning. What's happening? Happy Sunday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. Episode 1046. We've got some more snow on the ground. We got it's actually a very pretty snow. Doesn't look like it's quite covered the grass, but the trees. It looks like a winter wonderland. It's very pretty outside. So I think it might still be snowing a little bit. Enough that I'll have to get the shovel out and go outside, shovel this. Well, actually, I think the sidewalk, my front sidewalk closest to the house needs to be snow removed. But I think for the most part, the driveway and the sidewalk out front of the house, it looks like it mostly melted away. So, but I'll have to get out there and do a little bit of snow removal today. What's going on? So yesterday, I think I talked going into this weekend that I've got a busy December, but this weekend's just kind of like ship list, ship, sort, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, usually when these weekends happen, nothing going on Saturday, nothing going on Sunday. It's like I get cabin fever. It happened. It didn't even sink in until like Sunday afternoon. It was like, boom, Saturday afternoon, like, because I didn't leave the house yesterday. I didn't even go to the post office. Did not leave the house outside of taking Biscuit to go potty. So it's Saturday afternoon. And in fact, I've noticed that I am most productive from like 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then again, from like 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. or sometimes even 8 p.m. There's that like middle of the day, like lunchtime and shortly after lunch, I'm like toast, man. And then all of a sudden, 4 o'clock, it's like, I'm like super amped up, second wind, boom. I don't know why that is. It's probably my poor diet. It's probably my poor diet. The cat, it probably is. It's probably related to my coffee consumption. I drink a pot of coffee in the morning, and then by 11 o'clock, it wears off, noon, and I'm in like, maybe every once in a while I see ads for like, it's like the mushroom infused drink. It's supposed to be a coffee replacement, but healthy and like keeps you energized throughout the day. Maybe I should look into something like that. So 4:30, so like 4 o'clock, I go upstairs and hit the couch, and it's 4:30, and I look out the window, and it's like pitch black. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. My wife's like, what? I'm like, it's pitch black. She's like, yeah. I'm like, why? I'm like, we still have like a month more of this. Because we've got what? 19 more days of fall, and then we haven't even hit winter yet. There was something somebody posted on Twitter. Why do they call it the winter meetings if they happen in the fall? And it's like, I mean, who thinks of December 3rd as the winter meetings start today in baseball? Who thinks of December 3rd as fall? Nobody. I mean, it's like, why does summer vacation start in the spring? Why is spring training in the winter? I think our seasons are just effed up. We and I've talked about this before. We just need to change it up. Winter starts November 1st. Spring starts March 1st. And then we get like a month of summer here in Wisconsin. July. July is summer, everything else. So, yeah, so I did come back down after dinner. We had some pizza, frozen pizza, Costco brand. Had some pizza for dinner, came down. I think I listed a batch of cards, did some sorting, and that's about it. Watched some RAS. I watched some AEW last night. Was entertaining. So what else? That's about what I did today. Today, I think I'm much of the same. I had a really weird eBay day yesterday. And this week's been really slow, which I anticipated this week to be slow coming off a 50% off sale. A lot of my return customers, a lot of customers, I'm going to get 50% off. Boom, take advantage of it. That's why it's there. Definitely do it. But then the following week, it's like, oh my God, am I ever going to sell a baseball card again? And I'll look through and I haven't looked at my numbers, but I know it was a really slow day yesterday. But then all of a sudden at like 7 p.m., let's see. I didn't even hit 50% of my goal yesterday. Whereas last Saturday I did 3x, over 3x my goal. And then last Sunday, 2.5x my goal. So I was looking at, all of a sudden, like all day, I'm like, come on. I'm like looking at eBay. Like, it's almost like I look at eBay sometimes on slow days. I look at eBay like I'm waiting for water to boil. And it's like, if you watch it, it's never going to happen. That water is never going to boil. It's like, if I keep checking my eBay, it's not going to happen. So, I'm going to go off and do other things. And all of a sudden I open my app up and holy crap, I've got all these sales and offers, 7:00, boom. Nothing through the day. I mean, I had sales hit and miss here and there. And then all of a sudden after 7:00, the floodgates open. It's like, okay. And it does. And I say this is when your sales are slow, it's the perfect time to scale up and add more because you're not spending time shipping and you can list. And so I have been doing that, but I could have been a little more proactive with it and listed more. I only listed a couple hundred cards. I had the whole day to myself. I could have listed thousands of cards. So it kind of like it's defeating sometimes, but that's sales. That it doesn't matter if you're selling baseball cards on eBay or if you're selling widgets in an office in Boise, Idaho. Like, that's sales. Doesn't matter what it is. You're going to have those times where it's like, oh my God, am I ever going to make another sale? And you got to power through that. And sometimes I fall in defeat and bitch looking out the window that it's dark at 4:30. Sometimes that's what we do. But it is the perfect time if your sales are down, just freaking list more. And sometimes it's hard to get into that mindset of, I listed like 1,000 cards this week to try to build back what I sold last week, and it's not selling. It's like, I'm listing all these new cards and they're not selling. Why? And then all of a sudden, floodgates are going to open and you're going to have a windfall. So that's sales. That is sales. So that was my day. That was my day yesterday. I'm going to list some more. I actually, I've been trying to list quite a bit of different, and I've had, I've purchased the last 2 collections. Oh, I had a laugh. I got a laugh yesterday. I'm going to tell you about, but first, let me finish this story. So I bought the 2 collections over the last couple of weeks, and so I'm still going through a lot of that. In fact, the stuff that I bought last Saturday at the Madison Card Show, I've only listed maybe 100 or 200 cards out of a few thousand that will be going up. But I'm trying to list, yesterday. I mean, just in the last like 2 days, I'm looking at some of the piles of listings that I've created. We did the Sports Illustrated for Kids cards the other day, so I've got a pile of those. Topps Chrome NPB, the Japanese cards. Yesterday, I uploaded like 150 Goodwin Champions. I think I underpriced golfer Justin Thomas because I sold both of his cards for $1.75 within like 2 minutes of listing. What's in this pile? This is a lot of the serial numbered cards that I bought out of Sterling, Illinois a couple weeks ago. Bowman Chrome refractors. There's a Reggie Jackson out of 125, Miguel Cabrera refractor from Heritage, some greens and purples. And then last night, I also listed some Topps Cosmic Chrome, and I actually did move quite a few of those. I think I moved, I sold 3 to 1 buyer. So just trying to mix it up, trying to mix some of the, get some variety in there, what I'm going to list. And then it's like a lot of this stuff I have to go in and tweak a lot of the listings because they're not in the database on Card Dealer Pro. So then I'm like, I found a stack of like 84 Topps stars, like Wade Boggs and Tony Gwynn, Ozzie Smith, 89 Upper Deck. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to. So there's like 100 of those. Those will go up this morning. Is it dark in here? My lighting, and I have my shades are open. I don't know why it's dark in here. So so I got a laugh yesterday because I've been perusing the Facebook Marketplace listings. And this actually didn't come up in Marketplace. At least I didn't see it in Marketplace. I saw it on in a for sale group. Which I don't know. Is Marketplace and for sale groups, are they like completely? I don't know how the Facebook stuff works. Now it feels like it's getting lighter in here. Anyway, it was in the Quad Cities. And I see this, and it was in one of the Quad Cities. Where are we at? Here we are. Switch account. Here we go. All right. So so it looks like a collection. How can I see the profile? Looks like a collection. Oh, and it looks like she did add more pictures this morning, probably because she's getting a ton of messages about this. So tons of sports cards for sale. And it's like, based on the location and the room that these are in, it's like, oh my God. It looks like the basement office of some closed down building. And it's just in a mess, and it's boxes, all you see is boxes. There's a Pepsi box, old boxes that look like box 13. And it's just like, what is binders? And I mean, it looks like, oh, it's just such a mess. And there's that looks like it's a slabbed Hank Aaron there on the, I don't know what, it's like a postcard type card. And then there's some boxes up here, probably open. There's binders. I mean, it looks like it would be this is like a lot of fun for me to just go through. And then here's a shelf with cards, but there's, I see like a Ben McDonald. And so there's nothing really, nothing really stands out outside of there's a bunch of boxes. So, I sent them a message and I said, hey, how much for the cards posted? Because I assumed it was just like, hey, we're selling this whole collection. Let me, using that term collection loosely. The response was varies. Prices have graded cards too. All sports, all kinds of examples. Topps, Upper Deck, Fleer, Score, NASCAR. And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, okay, so the entire collection is not for sale, just individual cards, ? This is when I got the laugh, because based on the pictures, it's $500 collection, bulk lot, based on the pictures that I see. Entire collection, $30,000. Please show me what in that room is going to get you close to 30. No. So I said thanks, and then they replied, selling individual years and players. Okay, so you're not looking to sell the entirety. My advice would be get them cleaned up, man, lady, because nobody is going to pay. Most people would turn down would not pay $1,000 based on what they look like. So, and then there's some close-up pictures. The graded cards. Okay, so here's the first picture. A James Wiseman NBA Hoops GMA 10. A David Robinson 1990 Fleer PSA 8. Courtney Brown. Oh, that's a Gem Mint 10. Courtney Brown. Tremont Waters GMA 9. There's a Nick Madrigal Topps White Sox GMA 9. Okay, so these would get passed over in a dollar box. An 89 Donruss Nolan Ryan PSA 9. Achilles Smith Beckett 9. David Robinson 93 Hoops PSA 8. Corin Robinson 2001 Pacific PSA 9. Like, yeah. And then I see something like, 79 tops. Oh, it's Chris Knapp, and it's like a PSA 6. Tim Couch. Here's a Hank Aaron, like 2001 tops from a grading company I've never even seen the slab or heard of them. EMC. Like, so far, I see not. I don't even see a card so far in the slabs. I'm on picture 3 or 4. I don't even see a card in here that is worth $10. Okay. Oh, here's a couple Michael Jordans. 93 Stadium Club GMA 7. Again, that's since it's a GMA and it's a 7, it's probably a $5 card. 93 Stadium Club GMA 8.5 Michael Jordan. Oh, hey, she cleaned up this picture, but there's no cards. This is comical. Oh, and then there's the picture of what it looked like with the cards. And these are just the same pictures that she showed in her original posting. Like there's oh my God. Yeah. I wouldn't even pay. Looking at that stuff, it's like 500 would be fun I would pay 500 just for some fun. 1,000 based on those pictures. No way, not touching it. James says, is GMA like tag? No, GMA is tag's actually reputable. GMA is like I don't even know what to compare it to. It's garbage. It's one of those alphabet grading companies. Let's go to the chat. So that was my humor for the day. $30,000. Are you kidding me? Hall of Fame card collectors in the chat. What's going on? We are doing well. Doing well. eBay sales a little slow this week, but I expected even when my sales are down, it's like, well, I didn't expect them to be down this much. I knew my sales would be down this week based on the big sale that I had last weekend and how much volume I did move a week ago. But still, it's disappointing to see. It's like some of these numbers, it's disappointing to see. But again, that's sales. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and you just have to ride the wave. There's going to be those random days, all of a sudden, the floodgates open. So it's also December. And the thing that I think many of us either have taken for granted over the past few years, or if you weren't around pre-COVID, is that traditionally this has been like the slowest time. Like I remember I've sold on eBay for 25 years. 98, 99 was my first, when I was in high school, I was buying and selling on eBay. Now, certainly not even close to where I've been the last 10 years, 15 years. But when I started selling more volume in probably the early to mid 2000, like 2000, I would say my first eBay store was in 2004, 2005, 2006. I was doing volume on eBay. I was using Turbo Lister, selling in volume. Now, my volume back then was like my eBay store had 500 items, 300 items. It was also like cherry picked. It wasn't like I wasn't grabbing 89 Upper Deck Kirby Puckett listing those. Times were a lot different. Things were a lot different though, fees and all, and insertion fees and stuff like that. But I remember those early days selling. All of a sudden, November, December hits, and it's like, where did all the buyers go? Because it's like the off season. Now we're gonna see some bumps. The winter meetings start today down in Nashville. That's kind of on my bucket, like not really bucket list. I think it would be fun. Nashville would be really fun. Going to winter meetings in Nashville. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but it's fun to talk about or think about. Like the winter meetings would be fun. Just hang out. It's December. So the winter meetings will give it a bump, free agency signings, trades. That'll give a short-term bump for certain cards. So we'll see some bumps here and there this week. And then I think as we get around Christmas, you start seeing those sales from gift cards. A lot of people, I get eBay gift cards in my stocking. And so guess what I'm doing on Christmas night? I'm looking to, I got an eBay gift card burning a hole in my pocket. A lot of people do. So you'll see a bump after Christmas. And then by mid-January, you start to see prospectors are starting to, okay, who am I going to speculate on this spring? And then Top Series 1 comes out, end of January, beginning of February. And now we're in baseball mode and sales start picking up again. So just have to remind yourselves that this is the typical slowdown. We didn't see a slowdown in 2020 or 2021, and kind of to an extent last year even. We're starting to get back to the average. I don't like to say the N-word normal. There is no such thing as normal. But what we're used to. We're getting back to baseball card sales, and the industry is kind of getting back to a good spot. Now, we don't want it to be like 2010, 1994, 5. We don't want it to be there, but it's also unhealthy to be where it was in 2021. Was it fun? If you're a seller, it was a lot of fun in 2021. It's a rhyme. It was a lot of fun in 2021. It was. If you were selling cards, now if you're buying, you're probably, oh my God, why did I spend that much money on a GMA 7 Michael Jordan? So here we are. Donald Davis, he's back. What's up? He went to Pekin, Illinois for the card show. Boston Smokes in the house. Good morning. Dave's here. What's up? Good morning. Good morning, Mark Hoyle. Dave wants to know, can you show me how to change descriptions on the Card Dealer Pro? I think so. Let me see. I just create a template. Let's see. Description. Okay. So here, let's share the screen. So go into your settings. Let's make that bigger. Okay. So there's your settings. Description. Go to settings, description template, and there you go. And I think that's I think that's actually the default. Yeah. So that's the standard default template that Card Dealer Pro spits out. I don't use that one. So here's my custom template. Shipped plain white envelope, PWE. Buy 7 or more cards and receive 25% discount at checkout. Discount does not apply to accepted offers. Please see photos for condition. So that's the custom. You can have a whole bunch. You can do custom for, different types of cards, or, sometimes I might list a $40 card and it's not going to ship plain white envelope. So sometimes I need to remember that and go in and change that. I don't, but that's what you do. You just go into settings, description template, and then you can create it. You can put whatever you want. You can use their standard one. Pretty simple. Donald Davis, got my package ready to ship Monday to SGC. Very nice. Christian, good morning. Sitting outside waiting for my favorite dirt mall show to open in Taylor, Michigan. Go Lions. We've got a bye week. I'm wearing my Western Illinois hoodie today. There you go. Go Leathernecks. Was wearing Wisconsin yesterday. Big win for the Badgers. They beat Marquette, number 3 in the nation. And I think, what was the latest poll? Let's see. College basketball. Because I think number 1 lost this week also, AP poll. So this would have been November. So yeah, Purdue lost. Northwestern beat Purdue. I'm not sure about Arizona. Whoa, Arizona and Wisconsin play this week. Ooh, oh, damn it. Is that Saturday, the 9th? It is. Shit, I'll be actually, you know what, at 2:15, I'll be wrapping up at the card show and be heading to Buffalo Wild Wings. So I'll be able to at least see the second half of Arizona, Wisconsin on Saturday after the card show. So number 3, Marquette, Wisconsin just beat Marquette. Number 4, UConn. Number 5, Kansas. So There you go. Wisconsin was unranked, so I think Wisconsin only has 2 losses, and I believe I believe both losses are to ranked teams. Yeah, they lost to Tennessee, who's ranked number 10, and Wisconsin lost to Providence. Oh, they were in the top 25. They are no longer. Providence. Or are they? I don't see them in the receiving votes. How about James Madison ranked in the top 25? Okay. Providence not in the top 25, nor are they receiving votes, but I don't think Wisconsin is receiving votes either. They are not. How about that? Bradley has a vote in the top 25. No Wisconsin, no Providence. Okay. So they have 1 loss to number 10, Tennessee, and then a loss to Providence. And a win over number 3, Marquette. So that should boost Wisconsin. They should probably break into the top 25 this week. Stuke says, good morning. Addition from yesterday. Several FCS playoff teams and FBS bowl teams will lose key players tomorrow. I would like to see the portal open after the season is over. Talking Teti says, good morning. Okay, I know where the sky shows up after sale. Skew. How do you get the box row tab to show up? Where in CDP do you set that up? I have no idea. No idea. So I set it up in the Excel spreadsheet. If you're not using the Excel spreadsheet, I honestly don't know. Because I export everything to Excel. And then I do all of my work out of Excel, not out of Car Dealer Pro. So if you're working out of Excel, it's like the second column. If you're not working out of Excel, if you're working out of Car Dealer Pro, I don't know the answer. Ken says today could be a great day if the playoff committee leaves out Alabama. However, I fear they won't. They'll hose Florida State. This is a great debate. And I don't really follow college football that much. I mean, I follow it enough to have an opinion on this particular topic. Ken, I 100% agree with you. It should be Florida State in the Final Four with Michigan, Washington, and Texas. Is that right? Yeah. Texas, Washington, Florida State, Michigan. Should be the Final Four. Some people argue, well, Florida State doesn't have their quarterback. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Injuries shouldn't matter. They won last night without their quarterback. They won all season with or without their quarterback. It's a team sport. Injuries should not matter. And back in the day, I used to have a different opinion on that because the NCAA tournament committee, an All-American would go down in the regular season and would be out for the NCAA tournament, and the committee would be like, well, we're not going to punish them for losing their best player. It's based on their resume and not any what if scenario. So I agree. So for those that say Florida State shouldn't be in because their quarterback, I say poo-poo on that. I agree with Ken. Florida State should be in. Alabama should be out. Georgia should be out. Final Four, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Texas. James says, good bulk buys at Oak Creek, 5 rows for $40. Hey, how about that? Orlando's in the house. What's up, a collector's dream? Uncle Rich says the like percent is not bad, but it's not good either. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Zach and Porter in the house. Good, you went live. I was worried about Rich. Why did Uncle Rich ask something in a chat or something? Dave Arnold, go next. We got South Dakota today, right? I think it's the Leathernecks in South Dakota. The Yotes. Collector's Dream would not even pay $300 for that lot. Exactly. Dan says, yo. Should have an easier week of work this week. Looking forward to that, planning stock purchases for January and February. Fun. TD Sports Cards is here. Good morning. Mark Hoyle says hi to Zach. Rich says they have had the winter meetings in Dallas and I've gone to bop around and it's worth doing once for the fun of it. Zach says hi to Mark and adds, I just finished spending a $75 eBay gift card I got last Christmas. Normal is a setting on a washing machine. That is all. There's our Bitcoin update, 39.6, almost to 40,000. I hear the market for Javi Baez Topps Living set is back up. Good news for some of us. Right. I have 9 Topps Living Javier Baez cards. Well, why did you buy 9? That was the foolish money that was being, and I don't even, was that even in 20? I don't even think that was that wasn't that was pre-COVID when I pissed away $50 on Javier Baez Topps Living. Why do you want 9? Well, I can fill a whole page. What was I thinking? See, that's how I've evolved. I used to spend foolishly 9 Topps Living Javier Baez. I spend foolish, and here I am buying 1 million, over the course of time, 1 million Cubs cards. So I guess at least now I'm being more picky. Uncle Rich says, by the way, for anyone who complains about BB card box prices, have you looked at Pokemon box prices recently? I was taken aback yesterday doing my Secret Santa shopping at my local card shop. I have not. I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know. Rich says, by the cost of the box and how few cards will seem to be coming out of the box. And I guess the thing is, if they're worth it, like if a box is $100 and you only get 5 cards, but on average the cards are $20 cards, it's fair, right? But I don't know the Pokemon market at all, so I don't know if it's worth it or not. Zach hit the LCS yesterday, picked up a Greg Vaughn bobblehead for $3, gift for our local mailbox trader. I'm sometimes jealous of Brewers fans because Milwaukee Brewer bobbleheads are worth less than it costs to make them. You can find Brewers bobbleheads everywhere in Wisconsin for $3 to $5. You'll find them at card shows, antique malls. Oh, cool, a bobblehead for $5. I'm a Cubs fan. We don't have $5 bobbleheads for the Cubs. Every once in a while, you'll see a Edwin Jackson bobblehead for $10. And it's if I see a Cubs bobblehead for $10, I'm like, oh, I've got to have it. Got to have it. But most of these bobbleheads, most, especially the Wrigley giveaways, are at minimum $50. Trying to see what yeah, and some are even, obviously, and there's some rare Brewers bobbleheads that go for $12. I don't know. There's some, but Cubs, I'm every time I see a whole collection of bobble, it's 300 Brewers bobbleheads, $17. Gosh, dang it. Cubs bobbleheads, not the same. Mark Hoyle says, have a good day. I'm off to tape a show on Tony C. in The Impossible Dream. Very nice. Enjoy. Have a good day. Rich says, what a sad story on Tony C. Zach is off to eat breakfast and then put up the downstairs tree, better known as the tree with Porter's ornaments. A random story. I never took it down in 2020, kept it up until the following year. Hashtag boss. That is a boss move. I don't know when. I'll probably have to put my tree. We'll I don't know. My wife's got a whole day of appointments today, so I don't know. And next week I'll be out of town. So sometimes it's I always as we approach Thanksgiving, it's I want to put the tree up now. And then it's a week before Christmas and we're putting the tree up. Hall of Fame card collector says, would you buy Jackson Churio Bowman firsts right now? Right now, probably not because, it's always dependent on price. I think, did you buy the Churios out of my store for $2.50? If you got them for $2.50, absolutely. But if you're paying comps, market price, whatever they are, right now, probably not because he just signed that contract. So he's in the news. And there's a Churio bump. I'm moving some Jackson Churio out of my eBay store where typically I'm not moving too many prospects unless I have a 50% off sale. I'd probably wait a little bit. I wouldn't wait too long because I think his stuff does have room to move. That's just my opinion. But I might wait a few days just to let the news wear off. and see, because I think people were probably buying this week because of the contract he signed. Donald says, I talked to a couple of dealers at the Pekin Card Show, and they said it was steady. It looked like a decent turnout from the pictures that you shared. I saw a photo from the Oak Creek Card Show. It looked very busy as well. So I don't understand and maybe, I don't know if Uncle Rich is still with us, because I haven't done I have up until 2 years ago, I never steadily set up or went to card shows. But it seems like a lot of people are afraid over holiday weekends, over winter shows. I'm going to tell you what, the shows that I set up at, and I set up at 2 to 3 a month, the winter shows are the best shows. Last week at the Madison Card Show was one of the, I'd rank it just anecdotally, top 5 attended shows that I've ever done. And that includes right after right when we could start having card shows again in April of 2021. It was packed last weekend. Holiday weekend, people are, I don't want to set up. It's a holiday weekend. Well, you're going to lose out on some sales because people are out spending their money. I am intrigued by this month. The Madison Card Show is December 30th. Ideally, I would have it December 16th. But I didn't go because Green Bay has theirs on December 16th, and I'll be set up in St. Charles, so don't want to bunch them all up. So it's like, well, December 30th. Everybody's trying to get, other card shows are trying to get in before Christmas, which is ideal because you still want to get, people are out spending money. Are they going to be out spending money on December 30th right after Christmas? Time will tell. I've never done a show right after Christmas. So I'm intrigued by what December 30th. It could be a phenomenal show because nobody else, I don't think there's too many other card shows on December 30th. So there's no competition. So where does everybody go? Well, the only card show is in Madison. Let's go to Madison. All of a sudden, it can be as simple as that. So I am curious what what it was like pre-COVID. What were card shows like pre-COVID consistently year round? Because I wasn't, going to many card shows. Yeah, I probably went to 2 to 3. Like now I'm doing 2 to 3 card shows a month, and I have been for the last 2 years. Before COVID, I did 2 to 3 a year. Sometimes not even. I'd do the national and maybe pop into 1 or 2 other card shows. Usually it was just the national and the spectacular, like 2019. National and Spectacular was the only shows I went to. TD Sports Card says that's a tough 4 to 7 stack to pick one. Florida State, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia. Low Roller Scratcher says Trey Lance was down last year. Brock Purdy took them in the playoffs. The NFL said 49ers can't play playoff because Lance was down last year. I have no idea what that means. Red Light 34, good morning. Good morning, Porter. What's happening? Uncle Rich says to Mikey, for Churio, it depends on how you feel his long-term value is. If you think potential Hall of Famer, yes. If you think short-term, probably not. Collector's Dream says prices are still crazy for new products. Prism Football Hobby Box, $900. Yeah, I'm shocked at the prices on hobby boxes for football and basketball. And mainly football. I don't know what I'm assuming basketball hobby box prices are similar to football, but it's like, yeah, like baseball, we're in our own little bubble if you're baseball only. And it's like, oh my God, I'm not paying $300 for a hobby box. And it's like Prism Football, $900. It's like, it could be worse. Kyle says, nobody forces you to be a Cubs fan. I do. I force myself. Rich says that's your problem then on being a Cubs fan. I know. It is. I'll just become a Brewers fan and buy $3 bobbleheads. Porter lucked out and was able to make it to the card show in St. Louis after all. Scored my first bulk box, and I'm pretty pleased. Nice. Love it. Cooter says, I am. Cooter says, I am. James says, it would be awesome if I can go to the card shop for my Secret Santa. LOL. Cooter says, I'm on the lookout for a Ryan Sandberg 89er bobblehead for you. Ooh. Do I have? I don't think I have a. Nope. I have a Tony La Russa, Iowa Oaks. Nope. Low Roller Scratcher says you can sell those bobbleheads on eBay. I could, but I'm not going to. Rick says, yes, I'm still with you. Bargain Boxer, what's up? Sucks I missed the Pekin show. I need a list of shows within 3 hours of me. Maybe I can get a list from Donald Davis. There you go. Especially in your area, because Donald knows where the card shows are in central Illinois. Was that Pekin show on card show map? Seems a little incomplete. I've got to update my show on the Beckett website and Sports Card Digest and all that stuff. Pekin was not on unless it wipes away after the fact, but it does not appear it was on card show map. Ken says, why do you think this time of year is good for card shows while bad for eBay? Seems like it would be the opposite in the North. Everyone wants to stay in. Yeah, it is funny because the January and February Madison card shows, when it's the absolute shittiest weather, cold, have been the best. Now, it's also weather dependent. If it's going to snow 6 inches, turnout's going to be bad. But if it's like 30 degrees, if it's just cold and no snow, no precipitation, phenomenal shows. So going into the winter season, my fingers are crossed. Okay, hopefully there's no snowstorm on December 29th or December 30th. Back in the day, the Thanksgiving weekend was the second best show of the White Plains shows after the East Coast National. Okay, so I don't understand where some of these people are like, oh, it's Thanksgiving, it's a weekend, it's going to be a bad show. I don't understand that, because it's like, what's the best shopping day of the year for like every retail? Black Friday, Saturday of Thanksgiving, and then some of the days leading up to Christmas. I think the day after Christmas is a big one as well. Cooter says, went to a new 50 table show yesterday, $5 to get in, and it stunk on ice. That's $5 to get into a 50 table show. That's just robbery. Uncle Rick says, in the winter in the North, you can't work on your lawn and you don't want to cook outside, so going to a card show is a good option. If the weather is passable, absolutely. Let's see. There you go. People get cash for Christmas. Cash it in at the card show. Uncle Rich says, down where Cooter lives, or where I live, it's a slightly different and also dependent in the DFW area if you have a significant football game as competition. There you go. That's what, no football competition now, unless you're a Sunday show. Saturday shows, no college football. Unless there's like the Motor City Bowl or some shitty bowl game. Donald says, I don't have a list. Just show up on Facebook. I know Springfield will have one December 10th. And do they still have like, is that the Route 66 show? They used to do those like twice a month. I don't know if they're still doing those. I mean, they were doing them twice a month, like what, 15 years ago? Where's Dave Arnold? We used to go there, set up together. Mr. Fair to Good was always there. I think it's at the same hotel though. I don't know if they do them twice a month anymore, but Hall of Fame card collector, I just thought of the upside when Churio gets called up to the show like Ellie did, then they exploded. Yeah. You know, I think we're going to see a bump on Churio. We're going to see a bump on Holiday. I think the bump on Churio is going to be more significant than the bump on Jackson Holiday. Jackson Holiday is already, his prices, I don't see, and I'm not talking like purple refractor autograph and the high end. I'm talking low, like base firsts, base chromes, refractors, like some of the lower end on that scale. I think there's more room to grow. Now you can argue that, well, Holiday was in Bowman draft, so there's less cards out there than there is. Churio was in regular Bowman that year. Yeah, there's going to be more, but I think because of that, like you can pick up Churio first Bowman papers on eBay for probably, $3 to $5. I had them in my eBay store for $5. They didn't move until I ran a 50% off sale. And, I think those can, by percentage, I think the margin is going to be better because I think when spring comes around, when he gets the call, there's going to be a bump where his stuff's for a moment, it's not going to sustain forever. Nothing lasts forever. But I think Churios will go to $10 to $15 for a base paper for a short period of time. Jackson Holiday, I don't think there's on margin percentage, there's not as much room to grow for where his stuff is now to when he gets the call or gets that bump when he makes the show. That's my thought process. Low Roller says, I'm trying to compare Florida State quarterback versus 49er quarterback. Gotcha. Uncle Rich says, I'd be thrilled if I was still promoting to have a show on the 30th. Kids have money and time. Parents want kids out of the house. There you go. I like that thought. Cash is old. People get Bitcoin for Christmas. There you go. And unless the Cowpokes have a noon game, it's a good day for a card show. Harlan's in the house. What's up, Harlan? Hey, I want to talk about the Hall of Fame today. Speaking of Hall of Fame, we've got Hall of Fame card collector in the house. We're going to talk Hall of Fame and the ballot. Bargain Boxer says, why do they make card shows so hard to find? Don't people want my money? Blame the promoters. Blame the promoters. Let's see. Dave says, I think they are once a month in Springfield. Haven't been in years. I wonder if Mr. Fair to Good is still kicking. I have a feeling he might have. He seems like he was living on the wild side and may not have had a long life expectancy. Mr. Fair to Good. I wonder if he's still kicking. I love Cheerios, says Bargain Boxer. So the Hall of Fame ballot is out. Uncle Rich says, my instinct for the vet committee vote tonight is Leland and or Piniella. Oh, I forgot about the vet committee. Ah, yes. I am not prepared to talk about that. So the ballot came out, a couple weeks ago? Let's show you the ballot. There you go. Can you see it? There's the ballot. 2024 Hall of Fame ballot. Looks like, do they italicize the new? I think so. So our new people on the ballot, new players on the ballot: Jose Bautista, Adrian Beltre, Adrian Gonzalez. I can't tell, is Matt Holliday in italics? Victor Martinez. The italics are kind of hard to read. Brandon Phillips, James Shields, Chase Utley, and David Wright are the first timers on the Hall of Fame ballot. So I'm going to do another video on the Hall of Fame ballot later because I love following this. At Not Mr. Tibbs on Twitter is an amazing follow if you're interested in the Baseball Hall of Fame voting process. That's where I'm sharing this from. But I'll do a video because I haven't really looked into the numbers and I don't want to just spout out who I think should get in. I mean, there's some names on there right now that I can tell you. I remember looking at Carlos Beltran's numbers and I was surprised. Like at first glance, without looking at his stats or knowing his stats, you're like, Carlos Beltran, not a Hall of Famer. But then you look at his numbers and you're like, oh shit, he probably is a Hall of Famer. So I think Carlos Beltran is a Hall of Famer. Let's see. Adrian Beltre, first time on the ballot. I think he's good. Todd Helton's kind of one of those on the border for me. Let's see. Next row. Andrew Jones is one of those guys that I just every year it's like, is he or isn't he? If I have to put that much thought into it after looking at his numbers, no, I don't think he's in. Joe Mauer's an interesting, like, I think he'll eventually get in. He's certainly not going to get on the first ballot, but I think he might get in eventually. Andy Pettit's an interesting case as well, and he's been on the ballot for a few years. And I know he's got kind of a cloud over him with PEDs, but the floodgates have opened on the PEDs. So will Andy Pettit eventually get in? He's probably coming up pretty close to being on his final ballot. Let's see. Manny Ramirez. I think Manny should be in. I think A-Rod should be in. I think Gary Sheffield should be in. Chase Utley is another one of those guys that I haven't looked at his numbers, but I know a lot of people talk about him being potentially in. Omar Vizquel is a guy that his off the field stuff hurt him. He was probably going to make it in. He was on a really nice trajectory, but then he had some domestic violence stuff come up, and that just kind of crushed his Hall of Fame dreams. Billy Wagner is one of the, for me, Billy Wagner, there's a bunch of these guys that are I just don't think there's enough there. Billy Wagner is one of those guys. Billy Wagner, Jimmy Rollins, Andrew Jones, and Andy Pettit are some of the guys that, I just don't know. So that's the ballot. What's the chat say? Max says, just getting in, but listen to yesterday's episode last night. Is today day 3 of bad opinions with Bo? Probably. We seem to differ on about every opinion, so get ready. Uncle Rich says, and this is the time of year where the Hall of Fame vote tractor comes into play. I checked last night, and 6 votes had already been calculated. Max says, should be in Beltran, Beltray, A-Rod, Sheffield. I agree with all 4 of those. So, hey, Max, we're on the same page. I agree on all 4 of those. Rich says, it will take a while for the Astros cheating scandal to fade, so Beltran gets into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, and I think that's what held him back last year. He might get in this year just because it's almost like a punishment. We're not going to let you in on the first ballot as punishment. Rich says Beltray will be in this year. Max says will get in Beltran, Beltray, Helton, Mauer, Sheffield, Wagner. Now, do you think they'll get in this year or eventually? Because I think Beltray will get in this year. Beltran, I still don't know. If he'll get in this year, if he's got to wait another year. I mean, Beltran will get in. I don't know if it'll be this year. Todd Helton, he's had a lot of momentum over the last couple of years. I think Joe Mauer gets in, but it may be several voting processes before Mauer gets in my opinion. Sheffield, I don't know if Sheffield ever gets in. And Wagner, I don't know. I'm kind of on the border on whether or not the voters will put Wagner in. Low Roller says Gary Sheffield in his final season. Oh, okay. So if that's correct, Gary Sheffield in his final, I just don't see him getting in. Andrew Jones is the 3rd best defensive fielder of all time using Fear, Beltray, Helton, Wagner, and Jones. Oh, F-War. Max says Spotted Cow is the best. NIL sucks, but I believe we agree mostly here. I never said Spotted Cow was the best. I actually agreed that Spotted Cow is just okay. So you're putting words in my mouth. Oh, wait. Those are your opinions. You think Spotted Cow is the best. Okay. Yeah. I don't think Spotted Cow is the best. I think NIL is great. Okay. So, yeah. Where are we at? Manny, Andy, Beltray, A-Rod for Hall of Fame card collector. T206 Kid, what's up? Tony's in the house. Utley gets a lot of support, but look at the overall numbers. Nothing is amazing. Bargain Boxer says, anybody know when the next Peoria, Pekin, Rockford card shows are? Yes, I can't tell you about Peoria or Pekin. Janesville, Wisconsin is next Saturday. Rockford is going to be January. I will not be there. It's because it's the same weekend as the Cubs convention, January 13th. St. Charles, Illinois is December 16th. So there you go. Janesville, December 9th. St. Charles, Illinois, December 16th. Madison, Wisconsin, December 30th. And I think Rockford is, let me get the old handy-dandy calendar, January 13th for Rockford. And I think the Rockford show is at the IBEW Hall, not at the Indoor Sports Center. Max says eventually on those guys, likely a few will be Vets ballot. Low Roller says, are you going to list Hall of Fame candidates cards in your eBay store? Yes. In fact, I probably listed some yesterday. Sheffield is a shoe-in for me. 500 home runs is an automatic in. I agree. There are certain numbers that get that treatment for me. I agree, 100%. Gary Sheffield has some of those milestone numbers, whether he played during that era of suspicion or not. I think he's in. Hall of Fame card collector says, I base mine off of name value, like do I remember their name and being popular at the time. And that's, that was something that when I think Carlos Beltran, I'm like, Carlos Beltran's not a Hall of Famer. And then last year I looked at his numbers and it's like, oh shit, Carlos Beltran is a Hall of Famer. So according to Mr. Tibbs, we now have 8 ballots in. So let's share that. So with 8 ballots revealed, which is about 2.1% of known ballots, Adrian Beltre is on all 8 ballots from the voters. Todd Helton on 87.5%, Sheffield on 75%, A-Rod on 75%. Now, that's a very super small sample size, and typically those numbers crash amongst the private ballots. So we only know the public ballots revealed. Not all ballots are public. Let's go to the tracker. Are you still showing? Oh, it's still showing that. So let's remove and let's bring up the tracker. We want 2023. So here's the tracker. Oh, wrong one. We need to present a new screen. All right. So this is last year. So there were 308 public ballots, which looks like it was 82.5% of all ballots. Where's the okay? So last year, Carlos Beltran received 47.4% of votes. That was on his first. Todd Helton was on 74.5% of votes. So I think Todd Helton gets in this year. He only needs a few votes to get in. A few votes that he didn't get last year. Let's see. Andrew Jones was at 61.4%. So this is the 7th ballot this year for Andrew Jones. Who else? Andy Pettit. Andy Pettit only 15.6%. That was only his 5th, so he's on his 6th ballot. I don't think he's going to have enough push to get in his 10-year cycle. Manny Ramirez, this year will be his 8th. He only received 32% of votes last year, so I don't think Manny's getting in at all. I don't think he's going to gain enough ground in the next 3 years. Alex Rodriguez, 35%. That was his 2nd ballot last year. I think A-Rod might actually get in because he's working in baseball and he's going to be he's going to be schmoozing with the baseball writers. I mean, he is now a journalist, a baseball journalist. So he's going to be communicating with many of these voters on a daily basis or on a at least weekly basis, sometimes daily basis during baseball season. So what's the key in life? Networking, making relationships. So I think A-Rod will get in. Scott Rowland got in last year. Gary Sheffield. So this is Gary Sheffield's final ballot. He only received 57% of the votes last year. I don't think Gary Sheffield can gain enough ground to go from 57% to 75%. That's a huge jump. I don't know if that big of a jump has ever happened from year over year. So I don't think Gary Sheffield gets in. Let's see. Omar Vizquel only received 17%. This will be his 7th ballot. Billy Wagner's on his 9th ballot, and he's got a chance. He's at 71.3%. Can he gain that ground this year? I don't know. But he might, make up less than 4% over 2 cycles. He might be able to overcome that. So those are just my thoughts. Let's see. Low Roller says, when's the next chance Sammy Sosa to get in the Hall? So he'll be on the veterans ballot, which I'm not sure when the next cycle is for that, for the modern guys. Beltre was good, don't get me wrong, but I feel he is almost overloved. I think he was kind of a stat stuffer because he played so long. I mean, he played into his 40s, didn't he? I mean, it's almost like the Harold Baines. He played, 21 seasons? 21 seasons. So he's going to have a high WAR, 93.5 WAR, but that's because he played 21 years. 477 home runs. That's impressive. Not the milestone 500, but 477 is pretty damn close. He was a runner-up to the MVP in 2004. Let's see. He won how many Gold Gloves? What does it say there? Doesn't say there, but he won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Gold Gloves. He was a Silver Slugger 1, 2, 3, 4 times. He finished in the top 10 of MVP voting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the top 10. Top 5 MVP voting twice. He finished 7th in the MVP voting 3 times. I mean, Beltre's got the numbers. He's got the numbers. Lifetime batting average of 286. He's got some impressive stats. 4 Silver Sluggers, 4 All-Star games, 5 Gold Gloves. His career WAR ranks 27th. Let's see. So Adrian Beltre, he gets in on my ballot that doesn't exist. Where are we at? TD Sports Card says a few easy future Hall of Famers: Kershaw, JV, Max, Greinke, Votto, Goldie, Arenado, Machado, Freeman, Betts, Lindor, Altuve, Judge, Cabrera. Did A-Rod own a team now? I can't remember what A-Rod's, if he was in a, if he bought a team. I think he was either in the process of purchasing a team or he did. Ken says, it blows my mind that some of the most feared hitters of the 80s and 90s are not in the Hall of Fame, but Baines and Rollins are. That is a great point. Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. Manny Ramirez, Gary Sheffield. I mean, Harold Baines is going to be the poster boy forever on comparing, especially guys that he played with. I mean, come on. Dale Murphy, who are you picking on your team? Dale Murphy or Harold Baines? And we all know why Harold Baines is in, because he had his buddies on the Veterans Committee, Tony La Russa, Jerry Reinsdorf. TD Sports Card says everybody who has hit 70% has gone in. Ken says Baseball Hall of Fame is a joke, and I agree with that. Beltre was really good defensively, though, too. Rich says difference with Baines and Beltre. Beltre is a top 10 all-time at his position. Baines, who I loved as a player, not so much. Sal Dougie, yeah, we got some snow here in Madison, Wisconsin. Max says that's because third base is actually the weakest in baseball. I would disagree. I would say first base. Now, just in general. I don't know if you're talking like third base performance, like players that are at third base or actual position. Max says DH doesn't deserve to get in. 4-leaf card says, I don't mind compiling. If you can stay in the league that long, then you must be good with all the young guys putting pressure to kick you out. Max says, oh, yeah, he's a first ballot, not arguing that. Just feel like people like him blindly. Gotcha. Rich says on the Baseball Reference Hall of Fame monitor, his Hall of Fame is 163 with the average Hall of Famer at 100. A-Rod owns a basketball team. Aha. Mikey likes A-Rod. Can you look NFL Hall of Fame candidates in your next show? No, because I don't like the NFL Hall of Fame. I don't know anything about it. At least I can somewhat talk, inform opinions on Baseball Hall of Fame because I follow it closely. I don't follow the NFL Hall. Somebody was asking me, I think it was at the Chicago show. I can't remember who I was talking to, but we were talking about, I think it was Devin Hester. Because I'm like, why is Devin Hester not in the Hall of Fame? Do I just not understand how the Football Hall of Fame works? Like, should he be in the Hall of Fame? Like, why is he not in the Hall of Fame? And I'm like, but honestly, I don't know anything about the NFL Hall of Fame. TD says second base is the weakest. Collector's Dream Orlando says, remember to hit the like button. Help, Bo. Thank you. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Actually, catchers have the least Hall of Famers. So now we've got 5. Third base of the weakest. I said first base. Somebody else said second base. Catchers. DH. Who are we missing? Pitchers, outfielders, and shortstops. So that's what I had for today. And I'll keep, this won't be the last time we talk Baseball Hall of Fame because I do follow not Mr. Tibbs on Twitter pretty closely and enjoy following the Hall of Fame. And now this last year was kind of a wah-wah, but I think this year there's more intrigue on, at least for me, my intrigue personally. I'm following, I want to see Joe Mauer, like where Joe Mauer, like how he fares in his first year on the ballot. I think we get Adrian Beltre in. Does Carlos Beltran get enough votes? Does Todd Helton get in this year? Who else was getting up there? Where does Andrew Jones, Alex Rodriguez? I'm following his numbers closely. Billy Wagner's on his last. How does Chase Utley fare? Because Chase Utley has some. Again, I'm just blindly speaking, so I want to get his baseball reference so I don't sound like an idiot even more than I normally do. Chase Utley has a career WAR of 64.5, 1,885 hits, 259 home runs, career batting average of 275, 1,025 RBI, 154 stolen bases. None of those numbers stick out to me at all. 16-year career. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-time All-Star, but I don't really consider All-Star because fans are voting. I know how I vote in All-Star. I vote all Cubs, so it's a flawed system. He was MVP. Highest he ever finished in MVP voting was 7th. Finished 8th a couple times. He just doesn't have numbers that Chase Utley is not a Hall of Famer. Not a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But I think he's people think should be in. Let's see. Rich says the problem with the Football Hall of Fame candidates is any of them don't have the stats the way baseball players do. That's true. It's especially when you get into like offensive linemen. Like how do you quantify lineman numbers? I guess they're pancake blocks and all that stuff. Max says second base has a lot of pre-war talent. I don't think third base can contend with. A-Rod is in the ownership group with the Timberwolves. There you go. Let's see. Ken says all stars also flawed because of the at least one player per team, and that's another reason. TD talking about Posey. When's Posey eligible? Next year? Let's see. Ken says maybe it's better that football players don't have stats. They have to pass the eye and dominance test. But I do, I'm a numbers guy because I think many of us either undervalue or overvalue the eye test. Because I'll see guys that have the numbers and it's like, well, this guy's a Hall of Famer. And no, he's not a Hall of Famer. And this guy sucked. Oh, shit, he had Hall of Fame numbers. But I'm kind of a moron. So that works for people that do pass the eye test. Ken says he don't need stars to know how good Joe Thomas was. Stats. There's Mauer's numbers. Ken says, I think numbers are overvalued. Low Roller Scratch, you're talking about Frosties. He's in his own world. So that's what I had for today. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit up my eBay store because I'm going to be adding some, probably some Hall of Famers. Actually, I know there's Hall of Famers. There's some guys that I thought, in 1986, I thought Don Mattingly was going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. I've got some Rod Carew, Hall of Famer, Steve Carlton, Cal Ripken Jr., Mike Schmidt, Ozzie Smith, Wade Boggs, George Brett, Robin Yount, Tom Seaver. I've got a bunch of Hall of Famers going into my eBay store today. So check it out, 99centcards.com. Link in the description. Buy 7 or more items at regular price, and you'll receive 25% off at checkout. I also added this weekend some really good player lots. Ohtani, Judge, Acuna. Get those. I'm shocked those haven't sold because I'll move those cards as singles for $2.50 all day. I put 5 or 6 of them up at $1 a piece, and they're different cards. They're not the same, and there's inserts. So check it out. Judge, Ohtani, Acuna, Trout, player lots. Good stuff in there. Check it out. You see the scrolling. That's my next card show, Saturday, December 9th, which is this coming Saturday in Janesville, Wisconsin, right off I-39 at the Holiday Inn Banquet Hall. I'll have my bargain boxes. Haven't decided if I'm doing dime boxes or quarter boxes next weekend. I might do dime boxes in Janesville and then my bulk $40 monster boxes that are my closeout quarter boxes. And then I'll take my quarter boxes to St. Charles on December 16th. So December 9th, Janesville, Wisconsin. December 16th, St. Charles, Illinois at the Kane County Fairgrounds. December 30th, the Madison Card Show. Let's see. Johnny says, dang, you're on late today. Figured I missed you since I was at the gym at 8. Good morning. So 8:30. Typically, I go live at 8:30 on Saturdays and Sundays. I think I went on at like 8:45 this morning. Mattingly, another great example. Thank you, Orlando. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, visit my eBay store. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central during the week. Let's see. This week, no disruptions. No Hobby Evolution next Saturday or Sunday. I'll be setting up at card show and then Club 400 Christmas party next Saturday night. So we'll talk to you tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central. See you then.